experienced cognitive hypnotic coach that has been working in the field for around 13 years. He's currently the assistant director of the Samaritans Mumbai. This organization is an NGO that works firsthand in the field of providing emotional and mental support to those who might be suffering through suicidal thoughts, distress, or any form of stress. I would like to call Mr. Sachin and his team up on stage.
Okay, you guys can hear me, right? I'll probably just be standing around here so that we can just move around and have an interactive session. Everyone's had lunch?
Yes.
No? जो लोग चावल खाए हैं उठे रहना, जो नहीं खाए हैं रोना नहीं. We try to do this as informative, as fun as possible. I know the topic is suicide, so it can be a bit difficult to digest that topic, right? So we have our team members here. Broadcast it. Okay. Hello, is this better? So I haven't actually yet decided what we are going to speak about because I wanted to kind of understand from you guys, where are you guys currently, what's your level of understanding on suicide presently, and based on that maybe we have about an hour and a half. So based on where you are, we'll try and move that journey forward a bit more and see if in the future we can, as much as we can do this. So I have my team members here. We have Sumaya, Urja, Shruti. So Shruti, Sumaya, हाथ उठा लो एक बार ताकि पता चले कौन कौन है. So Urja नीचे रख दो. अच्छा, Shruti, Sumaya, and there is Dhairya as well. So these three are just going to be placed around the auditorium. So in case at any point during the conversation, if anyone feels a bit emotionally triggered, right? Like because we may bring up or have a conversation or topic that may bring up some memories for us. And in case anyone feels a bit upset, थोड़ा सा रोना आ रहा है या कोई भी emotions बाहर आ रहे हैं, that's not a problem. We are not going to be like stopping everything and वो रो रहा है उसको पकड़ो. Nothing like that is going to happen. Feel free to cry if anyone does feel the need. So there is absolutely no problem. If someone next to you is crying, don't join them like अरे तुझे नहीं करना. Just let the person be. You focus here. And in case anyone needs to talk, so these three people are around. Just look at them. They will also know. You can even step outside. I know you guys are not allowing the walking out thing. Can you allow in case anyone wants to step out and talk? You can arrange that. So you can just step outside with them, talk for a bit. Whenever you feel comfortable, you can come back inside. Is that simple? We are also going to do a small skit towards the end, a few examples on how we can talk about this topic itself. So great. Shall we start? So, to understand what are we going to talk about? What is suicide?
The act of voluntarily trying to end your own life.
There's a bit of dark humor as well because I've been in this place for about 13. Oh, I haven't introduced myself, right? I should be doing that. Right. My name is Sachin Chittambaran. I've been associated with suicide prevention helplines or emotional support helplines for over 13 years. I was with Samaritans UK, one of the first suicide helplines in the world. They started back in 1961. I was with Samaritans UK for about 4 years in London. For the past 9 years, I have been with Samaritans Mumbai, the first international branch of Samaritans UK. Samaritans Mumbai started back in 1968, and 1993 is when we got our first phone lines, because that's when the phones came in, right? So that's how long we have been running this helpline. How many of you knew that a suicide prevention helpline even exists? So you are aware of it. On theory, what do they do? Any thoughts? Suicide रोकते हैं. Huh?
I think they listen to your problem and they're supportive and they refer, like they can tell you the actions you can take, like seek help, talk to your loved one.
So we will address this particular point as well. The question that comes out of this particular answer is, what does help mean in a suicide prevention helpline? जब ये call करते हैं, if anyone is calling a suicide prevention helpline, what can they expect? So we can try and address that a bit as well. Cool. Along with Samaritans Mumbai, where I'm currently the Assistant Director of Training and Development, I'm also the President of Befrienders India. This is an umbrella organization under which 14 suicide helplines across India report into. And Befrienders India further reports into Befrienders Worldwide, which is present in over 30 countries with over 30,000 volunteers as well across the world. So this is part of a bigger chain of the movement that we have been working in the area of suicide prevention. So that's me. Shall we start with the question then again? What is suicide? So voluntarily killing yourself, right? But why does it happen? Now, most often than not, you guys have a science background, so you may know that, oh, non-judgmental, ye sab karna hai. But let's address some basic stigma things here, right? So, what are we going to do? How many of us think that suicide is a sign of weakness? कोई नहीं उठाएगा, politically correct रहना, ठीक है. So, but we are aware that many of us think that suicide or suicidal attempt or sign is a sign of weakness. Yes, we are aware of that. It's a sign of cowardice, buzdili ka, right? Many of us think that it is a sign of attention seeking. Yes? I'm not saying you think it. You are aware such conversations exist, right?
Yeah.
Right? And there is also inkling that suicide actually it's not for cowardice or weakness. It is in fact courage. Suicide करने के लिए guts लगता है. ये सुना है? Right? Is it true? Right. Now understand the biases that exist in this room, because you got the whole spectrum from yes to no. But the answer is somewhere in between, right? So when we are talking about suicide, to understand what suicide is, I'll give you a definition. Suicide is when the pain of living exceeds the fear of dying. That is that. कोई हिंदी में बताएगा इसका मतलब?
तुम्हारे लिए डेली का काम करना बहुत ज्यादा मुश्किल हो रहा है as compared to just killing yourself and.
Now, is that what I said? That's an interpretation. Good job. But is that what I really said? Because we have to be very careful about the words we use, not in the political correctness context. But what information are we trying to provide? I saw your hand next. Zinda rehne se better hai mar jao. Is that what I said when I said pain of living exceeds the fear of dying? Zinda rehne se acha hai mar jao.
Basically, I want to say कि जिंदा रहना इतना दर्द दे रहा है अंदर से इंसान को कि उसको लगता है कि इतने समय जिंदा रहना और इतना पेन फील करने से बेटर है.
देखो यहाँ पे भी I hear you, but do you see what you have said here is that pain है, बस हो गया, right? But that is what is getting communicated. Yes. Anyone else? Last try.
जीने का दर्द मरने के डर से ज्यादा.
जब जीने का दर्द मरने के खौफ से बढ़ जाता है, तब सुसाइड होता है. Now what does this mean? शेरो शायरी जैसा तो लग रहा है, right? आप में से कोई है यहाँ पे जिसको जीने में दर्द नहीं है? Anyone who has not experienced pain, suffering in their life? Everyone has multiple sources. 2 are at home. Almost. Right. Now, when I said, is there pain in living? I mean, it's like any religion, any spirituality, anything that you go into, this is the one truth that is considered. There is pain. But is there anyone over here who doesn't have fear of dying? See, those who have raised your hands, I will say, you know why? When you were coming home, from home to the college today itself, right? You had to cross this couple of streets, roads. Left, right, देखे ना? क्यों? ये हमारी समझदारी है. Now, see, a lot of us will put that, Sachin, वो तो हमारी समझदारी है. That's my intelligence. That's my intellect that is stopping me from dying. But isn't that the purpose of fear? What is the primary function of fear?
Survival.
But it's like I don't want to die, so I will not step in front of a big room.
Yes. Now, I don't want to die, right? Ye want is not that I don't want to die. There is a sense of fear that comes in if then your life was in danger. That's the part I'm asking you to connect with here. Right? This is more evolutionary in nature. I mean, you have heard, I mean, you can see kids, right? You have seen newborn babies, right? उनके सामने किसी ने boo किया है? Any of you? Sadist enough to do that, right? अगर किए हो, तो उसका experience बता, आज जाके बच्चे को मत डराना. But if that happens, what happens to the child? Yeah, you see the freaking whole body jerk out, right? What is happening? Sense of fear. This is something that is literally the first emotion that you experience, one of the first, other than hunger, fear. So fear exists. In fact, there are millions, one or two people who do not have that. And in fact, the biggest problem for them is they don't normally even survive up till 15 years of age. You're aware? अगर आप में डर नहीं होता, if that evolutionary component of fear is missing in your life, right? Most of you will not even be able to cross 15. क्यों? बालकनी से कपड़ा उड़ गया, कूदेंगे आप उसके पीछे. You will just jump behind it. The ball is falling down. Let me just catch it. You are not going to have that basis to stop. Hey, if I do this, I will die. That does not come up. Are you understanding why I'm talking about the fear connection? So moving beyond intelligence, fear, these emotions are strong and it serves a purpose. And when I'm saying, when the pain of living exceeds the fear of dying, what you have to understand is the fear of dying exists in all of us. It's when this pain, an understanding of pain increases, gets more than the fear itself. That is when suicidal ideation occurs. And then to understand what is suicide, do you guys know the number 9/11?
Yes.
What does it signify? I'm not talking about 911, the US thing. 9/11. This is a very popular term. What is it?
Emergency.
911 nahi re. 9/11. Everyone Gen Z, nobody's heard of it? Yes. Bombing, World Trade Center. सुना है आपके पैदा होने के पहले हुआ था. 2001 के बाद पैदा हुए हैं सब. So 2001, September 11, something had happened. Twin Towers. America की शान, world's tallest twin towers. 2 flights came in, crashed. 60th floor and 70th floor. And what happened? आग लगी. There was a massive fire. Steel, concrete melted, and the building collapsed. Both of them, killing thousands of people, and the life as we know it changed. I mean, you weren't there, but it changed. I assure you. Right now, what has happened here? Have any one of you seen those videos? Yes. If you have seen the video, other than the plane crash and the building collapsing, there was something else that happened on that video. Would anyone be able to point it out? What did you see? People were jumping from that 60th floor and 70th floor. You saw that?
Yeah.
Right. Now, question. How many of you will call that suicide? How many of you will call that a suicide? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, एक एक करके फूल उग रहे हैं. But got the gist. How many of you will say, suicide नहीं था वो? Right? Yeah, typical majority of us think that was not a suicide. And let's look at the arguments for this. What are the arguments? Sachin, उसके जगह पे मैं भी शायद वही करता. Did you see the room? It was burning. Obviously, the person didn't have a choice, right? Right? What else do we say? But Sachin, when they had left that morning to go to work, they hadn't decided like I want to kill myself today. ये suicide कैसे हुआ? Nobody had thought of कि I'm going to jump from the 70th floor when they were going to work. Then this is not suicide, na? Is it? Let's address the definition first. Remember what was the definition that you had given? Pain of living के पहले भी voluntarily खुद को मारना. यहाँ पे किसी ने धक्का दिया था इनको? So just by that simplistic definition that you had given, it was suicide. Isn't it? Nobody pushed them. But Sachin, that is not the case, right? They didn't have a choice. Now, to understand this, can you guys do a thought exercise with me?
Yeah.
Challenge around 70th floor pe. Imagine you're in on that 70th floor, that burning room. You are there. And I'm there with you, don't worry, I'll अकेले नहीं. Now, what do you see in that room? Fire, flame, everywhere. धुआं ही धुआं है. कोई दिखाई देगा? No, your hand you can't see. It's pitch black with the smoke. What do you hear? Screaming, चीखना, चिल्लाना, things burning and bursting. Scary? Right. Are you able to breathe? No, it's so smoky you can't even breathe. You're breathless. And what's the heat? Unbearable. Let's. किसी का हाथ जला है कभी? चटका लगा है? हाँ? Okay. How much was the temperature?
It was a gas flame.
Gas flame. चलो कितना? 200 डिग्री दे दूं?
Yeah.
Right? गर्म पानी, उबला हुआ पानी किसी को लगा है? 100 डिग्री? 100 degrees. So I'll give you 200 degrees Celsius. Right? But when your hand got burnt, what did you do? Keep it there or moved it away? Moved it away. Now think about this. This was 200 degrees Celsius. Right? What temperature does steel and concrete melt on?
1000, 1100 something.
Think more like 1400 degrees is when steel starts melting. Right? Now what does that mean? 1400 degrees imagine कर सकते हो? 200 आपने हाथ हटा दिया. 1400? What does that feel like? If there is a fire burning at almost 1000 degrees, 1400 degrees behind your back, you can't see, you can't breathe, you can't hear. And the pain is unbearable. And during this time, you suddenly see a window. Are you able to open the door and walk out? No, there's fire. And during this time, you see a window, you open the window, and when you look down, it's not the ground floor. What floor? 78. How many of you have gone on to a 10th floor building? Right? नीचे देखे हो? क्या दिखता है? हाँ. Right. So this 70th floor, people died by suicide. We are still kind of debating if it was suicide. If anyone had jumped from a 5th floor building, you just came to know. What would you call it? Suicide. 10th floors? पक्का suicide. 5th से शायद बच जाता. ये भी बोलेंगे. 70th floor imagine कर सकते हो. टेंथ फ्लोर इमेजिन किया, नीचे क्या दिखता है? नाउ टाइम्स 7 इमेजिन करो. 10th फ्लोर से कैसे दिख रहे थे इंसान नीचे? 70th फ्लोर से नीचे क्या दिखेगा? बादल. एंड वी आर सेइंग दोज हु जंप बचने के लिए कूदे दिल से. आरंट वी? बट 10th फ्लोर पे जब आप बालकनी में खड़े थे तो पेट पे कैसा लग रहा था? Imagine the plight of the person who stood on the 70th floor at the window. How many of them stood for 15-20 minutes grabbing on to their life? But when the pain became unbearable, that is when they had to jump.
Greater than the fear of dying.
But now I'll tell you the problem. Your problem is not with this suicide. हमें इसको suicide बोलने में problem हो रही है. I'll tell you your issue is actually with the other suicides. What do I mean by that? Right? All of you have agreed that you have some pain in your life, right? Now imagine that as a burning room. So everyone has a small burning room inside you. Dard hai na? Now, only condition is right now, wo temperature thoda manageable, isn't it? Right now, that temperature inside your own individual burning room, it's a bit manageable. It helps you move to college, attend the exams, all the things that you don't want to do. It still pushes you, that burning room. That level of stress is needed, right? Eustress bolte hain. But what happens if that same burning room temperature goes beyond 1000 degrees? Right? That's the problem. The only difference between this suicide, the 9/11, and any other suicide is that in this particular suicide, in the 9/11 suicide, you got to witness the pain. आप लोगों को उसके दर्द का वीडियो दिखाई दिया, आया ना? जब हमें दिखाई दे रहा है, when we are able to actually see the hopelessness of that person, the amount of pain that person is going through, then we are able to see or justify कि, oh yes, I can see why the person did it. I may have done it. But when we hear about any other suicide, what do we hear? उसका breakup हुआ था. एग्जामिनेशन में अच्छा मार्क्स नहीं मिला, पापा ने डांट दिया, जॉब चली गई, फलाना फलाना. We hear this one reason and we're like, weak है. How many of your family members, friends, loved ones know your burning room properly? This is my question to you. Is your pain, are there people in your life who are 100% aware of your 100% pain? छुपाते हैं ना, right? Then how are we so sure as to why someone killed themselves when suicide happens? This is the question we need to ask. So, for all of you, the first question that you need to be answered: why was there a suicide? The answer is not it was out of weakness, cowardice. Right? Imagine the people who jumped from the 70th floor. When you were seeing them, did you say, "Kitna brave hai, dekho, 70th floor se kooda"? Or did you say, "So weak, couldn't wait for 10 more minutes"? Huh? So buzdil hai kitna? Or look at him, attention seeking, look ma, no hands. Is that what was happening? Would you assign any values like this? No, you won't. That's the difference you need to be able to make. Suicide happens. Suicide is a symptom of pain. It's not a symptom of cowardice, weakness, courage, or even attention seeking. It is a symptom of pain. Right? And the idea is, if the suicide prevention, if I have to break this down, first we are talking about suicide. The prevention bit of it is the easiest bit. The only problem, however, is हमें suicide word से ही problem है. Right? Do you see how much stigma we have attached to it already? कि नहीं सचिन वो 9/11 वाला suicide नहीं हो सकता, because suicide is such a bad thing and the person that died did not do a bad thing. That is what our debate becomes. This is what we have to move on from. So suicide थोड़ा समझ में आ रहा है? Awesome. Now, should we look into some causes? What causes can happen? Now, causes समझने के लिए एक छोटा thought exercise करते हैं. Right? All of you have given your 10th exam? Of course. है ना? नहीं? सब 10th पास नहीं है? दिया नहीं? दिया नहीं? पास नहीं हुए? ठीक है. कोई तो दिया ना? We'll get to that. Now, the exercise is you have to go back to your 10th. Okay, the pleasant version of it. Or maybe not. Now, imagine the thought exercise is you have your 10th ka exam tomorrow. 7 o'clock in the morning, you have a reporting. School mein. ठीक है? Now, remember school ka building याद है? You remember the building, you remember the teachers, remember the walls, you remember your uniform, get into the mood, remember your first crush? Good job. Now, tomorrow is the exam, and what is happening today? Today is Diwali. पढ़ाई होगी? नहीं. क्यों? सारे चाचा चाची, नाना नानी, बच्चे चुच्चे सारे घर पे पहुंच गए हैं. पढ़ाई नहीं होगी. टेंशन होगी? बहुत होगी. But होनहार बच्चे हैं. We managed to, what have we decided? 10:30, 10:30. By 10:30, all of them will go. Right? 10:30 के बाद क्या करूँगा? नहीं, I'll freshen up. 10:30 to 1 o'clock, one round of study. 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 3 revisions. 6 o'clock नहाना, खाना खाना, कपड़े बदल के स्कूल जाना. And पप्पू? Pass. Yes? Good idea, no? But there was a problem. ऐसी मेंटल हेल्थ वाले हो ना, आप लोग को स्लीप पे ही ज्यादा जा रहे हो. एग्जाम में मार्क्स चाहिए. Now what is happening? 10:30 relatives तो गए और साथ में गई बिजली. Stress double. But then you होनहार बच्चे हो, आपने खुद को फिर से संभाला. What do you do? इतना भी होना. 10:30 to 1 o'clock सो जाती. 1 o'clock को तो लाइट आ जाएगी. Right? 1 o'clock को उठना है, थोड़ा सा वैसे भी टायर्ड हो गया था. 1 o'clock I'll wake up. 1 to 6 o'clock, 1 time study, 2 time revision. Then वही same चीज, नहाना, खाना, कपड़े बदल के स्कूल जाना. And पप्पू still pass. But the problem, 1 बजे उठे? नहीं. 1 बजे नहीं उठे. कितने बजे उठे?
6 बजे, 3 बजे, 7 बजे.
7 बजे उठे. अभी क्या? नहाने को टाइम है? खाने को टाइम है, कुछ नहीं, सीधे कपड़े बदले और भागे मॉम डैड के डांटने के बाद। ऑब्वियसली यू रीच्ड, somehow you reached 7:30 हो गया, you're already late and you reached full पसीने में लथपथ, हाफते you reach the classroom and there you find your favorite teacher आ गई, you know, then 15 मिनट आपका उन्होंने क्लास लिया। Finally, out of complete frustration, you're like, ma'am, please just give me the paper. I'm going to fail. And you're shaking and you took the paper. The teacher finally gave you the paper and you saw the paper. जो 2-3 सवाल जाने पहचाने लग रहे थे अभी वो भी। तो क्या करना है? Whatever is your favorite song, yeah, Hanuman Chalisa, whichever works for you. Wrote it down. Om Namah Shivaya with 50 rupees or whatever is the currency that is going on right now. दे दिया। But now tension is still not over. You have to now go to the classes. Going directly to the classes without eating, without sleeping, without sleeping अच्छे से हो गया था, without drinking anything, till 7 p.m. एक के बाद एक teachers बदल के class ले रहे हैं. And in this time you are stinking, you are hungry, you are completely frustrated. But you told yourself, guess what? 7 o'clock when we all finish now, I'll go with my friends, eat something outside. वैसे भी नींद अच्छे से सोया था मैं, घर में जाके फिर पढ़ाई करूँगा. But what happened? Today, for some reason, even your friends left you. Something they were upset about, and at 7 o'clock, they all left you and went together. बुरा लगा? बहुत बुरा लगा. But इनको बाद में देख लूँगी करके समझा दिया. You went home. You're thinking, I'll go home and eat. But you reached there, guess what? दरवाजे पे ताला लगा है. तो क्या करें? हमारे पड़ोसी, our neighbor Sharma ji, right? We went to Mr. Sharma and we had ding dong, घर पे कोई नहीं है, तो उन्होंने चाबी दिया, हमने चाबी लिया, and we are walking towards the door and we tried to open it, and while we are trying to do that, चाबी हाथ से गिर गई. आप में से कितनों की चीख निकल जाएगी? How many of you may end up screaming or give a bad word? You can take your choice. Yes, निकल गई. But guess what? ये कौन देख रहा था? Sharma ji. Now tell me this, what did Sharma ji see? गाली देती है आजकल के बच्चे हैं, चाबी गिरने पे, वो भी ऐसी गाली मैंने भी नहीं सुनी. शर्मा जी also tried to put some pin. बोले क्या हुआ बेटा, दरवाजा खोलना नहीं आता? शर्मा जी को भी गाली पड़ गई. Now my question to all of you. Why did you scream? Now, I'll ask it आराम से. Why did you scream? Did you scream because of the key? चाबी गिरने की वजह से चिल्लाए?
No.
नहीं? शर्मा जी के कमेंट की वजह से चिल्लाए?
No.
दोस्त छोड़ के गए बोल के चिल्लाए? Did you scream because of the friends? Did you scream because of spending whole classes day together? Did you scream because of waking up late? Did you scream because your exam went bad? Did you scream because yesterday was Diwali? Did you scream because electricity went off? Did you scream because the relatives came over? Why did you scream? Everything. This is called cumulative, right? जब बहुत सारे चीज साथ में बिगड़ जाते हैं तब जाके चीख निकलती है. आया ना? Any other day, if the key had fallen down, what would you have done? अरे फिर से गिर गया तो फिर से उठा, गाली दोगे? शर्मा जी देख रहे हैं उसके सामने, नहीं दोगे. But something changed today. This is what we need to understand. The causes of suicide are multifactorial. Suicide never happens because of one reason. You have heard of today, we were in the earlier session as well, I think a lot of mental health disorders were brought up, MDD, OCD, borderline personality, bipolar, schizophrenia, all of these, even substance abuse. I think I had stepped out when substance abuse was covered, but it's a major symptom that comes up with substance abuse as well. In fact, 1/3 of suicides in India has alcohol as a part to play in it. Now, where was I? So the idea over here is for you to understand that whenever a suicide happens, most often than not, this gossip mind of ours asks the question, "Kyun kiya?" This is the answer you need to have for it. It is not because of exam, or relationship or any of these individual factors that you talk about, oh fail ho gaya falana falana, what you're doing is aap ban rahe ho Sharma ji. Are you able to see that? All of you have stated how there are so many sources of problems that all of you have. But if suicide happens, that is only because of one thing. Can you imagine that? Does that make sense? Of course it doesn't. Right? So idea, when you're even talking to someone with suicidal ideation, don't just think about the first thing that is coming out of their mouth and then blame the entire thing on that one thing. Right? There are multiple factors. To give you an idea, there is the Schneidman's principle that goes with this. It's the 3 P's of suicide. The 3 P's of suicide are psychic, perturbation, and pressure. Now, these 3 things are essential for a suicide to happen. Like, there are 3 things needed for a fire to happen. Do you know what those 3 things are? Physics पूछ रहा हूँ साइड में. Oxygen, fuel, heat. Right? These 3 things: fuel, oxygen, heat, चिंगारी. आपने ये तीनों चीजें हो जाए तो आग लगती है. Any of these 3 things missing, will there be fire?
No.
Exactly. The same way, psychic. What is psychic? Anyone knows? Psych ache, psych pain. Heard this terminology? नहीं सुना? जिन्होंने सुना है उसका मतलब बताएंगे कोई? Psych क्या है? Mental, psychological. You are talking about your inner world here. And ache क्या है? Pain. So now you're essentially talking about years of trauma and pain the person has gone through that they have not processed. This is essentially unprocessed trauma that the person is carrying with them, right? The second component is perturbation. What does perturbation mean? Anyone knows? No? All right. So, yeah. So, disturbance. If I do this, is that perturbation? You guys had shown something for mania today. Now, I'm not saying that mania is perturbation, but it's a sign. Well, there's a high level of energy that a person is experiencing, but this not necessarily always in a mania sense as well. Perturbation can also be an overwhelming sense of hopelessness, helplessness, worthlessness, uselessness. These things when high energy में feel होता है. And the third component is pressure, chingari. That's the chabi that you finally see. The only difference is I'm saying don't put the entire blame on the chabi. If this room I had filled up with petrol and left it for 2-3 months, चिंगारी कहीं ना कहीं से आ जाएगी ना? Yes? तो मैं पूरा बिल चिंगारी पे फाड़ूंगा कि इतने दिन ये पेट्रोल क्यों रखे थे? So now not to put it all on petrol as well, all 3 components need to be addressed. That is the main thing. And it never happens in silo. It just अपने आप से नहीं है. There are multiple reasons behind it. Is this making sense? Any questions so far? Causes समझ में आया है?
Why is attempting suicide a crime?
Who said it is?
According to the Indian law.
Who said it is? Now, I was going to address some of the myths behind this. How many of us think that suicide is a crime? Ethical question नहीं है, मैं constitutionally पूछ रहा हूँ. आप लोग में से कितनों को लगता है? Suicide is a crime. Attempting suicide is a crime. Yes, no.
Abetment.
Sorry? Abetment to suicide, euthanasia types. Okay, so there is Dafa 309, 308, which used to mean that suicide or attempt to suicide was a criminal activity. Was. I hope you may hear that. 2017 Mental Health Act of India came out. And in that, one of the things that they have done is they have decriminalized suicide. Now, what does that mean? Decriminalized suicide का मतलब ये नहीं है कि रिपोर्ट नहीं बनती. अभी भी and they still have to register it because that is, you know who's keeping suicides and accidents in India? NCRB, National Crime Records Bureau. So guess who will have to maintain that number? And how do you maintain that number? It is by putting that 308 on it so it gets tracked. But nobody is punished for it. Is that making sense? You don't get jailed for it, or you don't. Earlier it used to be jail for 2 nights and 500 rupees or 50 rupees or something like that. But on ground now, even that has reduced. Even the police harassment in these things have reduced drastically. Police are also becoming more and more aware as to what this problem actually is. Okay, it's no longer a crime. Okay, but addressing the myths, one of the biggest myth that we have is around suicide. That talking about suicide is bad. So let me put it in this way. How many of us think asking someone about suicide? So let me make the question clear. Do you have suicidal thoughts? Are you having any, have you been thinking of killing yourself? If I were to ask this question to anyone, how many of us think that it can either create an idea or ideation in that person's mind, or it can make the person upset?
Can make them upset.
How many of you think it can make the person upset? Okay. How many of you think it can create an idea in generate an idea and give that person? How many? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, let's address the second one first, which is, will it create an idea? And to make it even more complex, what if the person is going through MDD, major depressive disorder, or bipolar, any of these massive psychological illnesses? If they are going through it, asking them about suicidal ideation, can it plant an idea? Yes? How many of you think that? Right? Majority. False. Eh? Yes. Now, to understand this, if I ask all of you right now, how many of you are hungry? कुछ नहीं देने वाला. But उठा लो, कोई नहीं. Free country. How many of you are hungry? You're not? आप लोग रखो. I'll ask you one more time. Are you hungry? थोड़ा? बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Okay. So you're going to change your answer?
No.
Now, what am I doing by this? If I were to ask if all of you, and this is for you, if you had been sitting here nice, अच्छे से lunch खा के बैठे हो, कैंटीन का नहीं अच्छा खाना खा के बैठे हो, पेट भर के बैठे हो, if I keep on asking you 10 times as well, will you get like, हाँ यार भूख लगी है? No, right? Why? भरा हुआ है तो भरा हुआ है, what is nonsense, right? What does that mean? Hunger, can it be created through question?
No.
That's what I'm asking. Suicidal ideation. Think about what we are saying here. Me asking someone, hey, have you been having thoughts of dying? The person is going, wow, what an idea. मैंने क्यों नहीं सोचा? हैं? ये कर सकते हैं? Do you think that is what is happening? No. All of you come across the word suicide at least multiple times. News, media, ये फलाना वो फलाना. But आपके मुंह से जो निकला हुआ suicide word है, वो मंत्र का काम किया है. How is that possible? Right? It doesn't work that way. In fact, multiple tests, research has been done in this field. All of you, if you are planning to, how many of you are planning to become counselors or mental health professionals? Right? In India, 90% or more of mental health professionals get clients with suicidal ideation. Over 90%. So it is much more important for you to actually know what this suicide thing is. Because you can't avoid it. Okay? So पहले ये समझिए कि ये क्या है. Now, asking most of you, if you are going to be a mental health professional, you will be asking this question. It is part of the standard questionnaire, history taking or anything. सोचो आपने फिर कितनों का जान ले लिया already. It doesn't work that way. When you are asking the question, in fact, the opposite happens. When a person is having suicidal thoughts, one of the most important things to understand about suicidal thoughts is they are intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts मतलब? What does intrusive mean? First thought. I need a bit more clear answer. Intrusive. What does the word intrusive mean?
Negative thoughts that they can't seem to get rid of.
They can't seem to get rid. थोड़ा rumination में जा रहे हो आप. Intrusive. What does intrusive as a word mean? Invasive. Invasive भी थोड़ा सा और बड़ा है. हिंदी में कोई बताएगा? Intrusive.
दबे हुए.
दबे हुए? नहीं. Intrusive.
Disrupts normalcy. जैसे regular कभी function चल रहा है उसके बीच में
Interrupted.
हाँ, interrupt या intruder. ये देखो, intrusive comes from the word intruder. Intruder क्या है? घुसपैठिया. है ना? बिना permission के आ रहे what you were trying to say. घुसपैठिया यानी घुसपैठ विचार. Intrusive thoughts mean thoughts that pop up. These are, and actually all thoughts are intrusive in a way. You haven't decided or planned what you think. Your thoughts come up in your mind. When we are talking about intrusive thoughts specifically, you have to understand that these thoughts that the person doesn't choose to have. Nobody wishes upon suicide. Is that understood? मैं यहाँ पे बैठ के यार थोड़ा मरने का मन करता तो कितना अच्छा लगता. Nobody thinks that. Nobody wishes upon suicide in that sense कि how we think suicide functions. आज मुझे चाय. Yesterday it was raining so nicely, right? How many of us felt like having some chai and pakoda? मन करता है ना चाय और पकोड़े का. वैसे आज थोड़ा मौसम सुइसाइड आना है. थोड़ा मर लेते हैं. Do you think that's how it happens? No. किसी को मन नहीं करता है अपने आप की आज अच्छा है. It doesn't work that way. Intrusive thoughts work in a very different way, especially with the feelings of what I said with psychic, perturbation, and pressure. If these three are there, these thoughts can come up. It is what to do when these thoughts come up. That's where the prevention part of it comes. All of you are okay so far? EMI हो रहा है? Any part kind confusion? Right. Now what happens when you ask this question? People with suicidal ideation, they themselves are struggling with these intrusive thoughts. That's why it was important for us to know that this is not something that even people with suicidal ideation have control over. You don't choose when to have intrusive thoughts. The idea is they themselves are struggling with it, and the anxiety tends to be extremely high in them because they are not able to talk about it as well with anyone. Is that making sense? This is where suicide prevention helplines come into play, or hotlines come into play. If they're distressed, depressed, or even suicidal, they can call and we help them emotionally ventilate. Right? Remember the perturbation side, we spoke about the energy is extremely high, the fear, the pain, it's extremely high. When we are listening to someone, what we practice is purely active listening. And when we talk about help, what is help to be provided to the person? We do not tell the person what to do in their life. We don't tell them what is good or bad. We don't tell them what is the right decision for them. शायद उनको बीवी को छोड़ना चाहिए कि नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. We don't make those comments. Right? And something more shocking for you, we do not even give hope. What does that mean? We are not there to tell the person that सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा. We don't lie. Does that mean that उसका कुछ ठीक नहीं होगा? No. The point is I don't know. We don't know. So our role purely is to help the person connect with their inner world. And we do that by first being interested in it. First we are focused on the other person. Through empathic listening, what we are trying to do is help the person connect with their own pain. And bring some articulation to their own feelings. Right? And what this helps is in an alleviation of that perturbation that they experience. We target that perturbation. This reduces that pain that they are experiencing. So when we are talking about that pain and fear, remember if the pain is here at this height, fear to yahan pe tha hi, pain बढ़ गया है. Now imagine if the person gets to ventilate and that pain goes down. What is happening? Right? The fear of dying is not going up or anything. The point is the fear itself will not allow the person to die. Are you understanding? So you do not have to train yourself to become saviors or supermen or women. What you are trying to be is a friend. Right? So when someone calls us, the only thing that they are getting is a confidential. What does that mean? That anything that the person shares, even the fact that they have called us, does not get shared with anyone. We get asked multiple times by media agencies, anyone, हमें एक story बता दो आपने कैसे किसकी जान बचाई. We don't share no stories. Because everything, even if we were to make up a story, that would have been something similar to someone who has told us something. So we don't even try to make up a story. in that regard. It is anonymous. That means we don't track who is calling us or mailing us. We don't even ask for your name so that you don't feel the pressure. Right? What is the biggest fear that we have in terms of sharing?
Judge करेंगे.
जज करेंगे, कैसे समझेंगे उसको, मैं मुझे चिढ़ाएंगे क्या, मुझ पे हंसेंगे क्या. There are all these things, and many a times we judge ourselves the most. So we don't share these things. Now Samaritans and helplines like ourselves offer that space where the person can talk to a complete stranger and even be able to share things that they may not even be able to talk about with their close ones, even their family members. Are all of you able to share vulnerable stuff with your family? No. Not everyone has their mother or father as their best friend. Right? And these are times when even an anonymous helpline, a stranger on the call, can also be someone who can help you. And when we say help, help does not mean guidance, help does not mean motivation, help does not mean suggestion, advice, or anything. It just means being there for the person. And asking the question is in fact the first step of saving a life. Right? Most of us will think कि Sachin पूछेंगे तो it becomes awkward, right? So today we are going to do certain steps. We are going to show a small skit as well for you guys to see what are the different ways we can ask maybe, and what are probably the don'ts, how we don't ask. And before we leave today, I want all of us to have asked this question. What question?
Have you had suicidal thoughts?
Are you having suicidal thoughts? And that means you will have to ask the person next to you, and they will ask you as well. And we will show you how to kind of just get this word out of your system. Is that making sense? Any questions? No? Okay. So I have my team here. You can need one more mic or something. No. So, what we are first going to look at is how not to ask the question. Okay, with regards to suicide, again, understand that we are having to skip a lot of these things. We are trying to manage everything in a 1.5 hour period. We can talk about this for like 2 days straight. So there's still a lot of questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We can accordingly talk to you guys about it. So right now, what we are going to look at is an example of how not to ask for suicide. Once you see the skit, I want you guys to tell me what did you like in it and what issues did you find in it, and we can then take it from there. Right? We have Dishank and we have Arya. Arya is the person who's going through distress. They are distressed. Dishank is their friend. All right? Take it.
Hi.
Yeah, you can hear. नहीं चल रहा है उसमें से आ रहा है.
हाय आर्या, कैसे हो आप?
मैं ठीक हूँ. एग्जाम्स का प्रेशर बताओ.
मैं भी ठीक हूँ. तुम्हारी तो पढ़ाई हो ही चुकी होगी ना अब तक.
यार ऐसा नहीं है, लाइफ में बहुत कुछ चल रहा है. एग्जाम का बहुत प्रेशर है.
तुम तो हर बार ऐसे ही बोलते हो यार. चिल मारो, तुम हमेशा टॉप करते हो बाद में.
नहीं यार, मुझे तो पता भी नहीं कि पास या फेल इस टाइम. मतलब तुम बोल रहे हो तो.
तुम इतना डिप्रेस क्यों साउंड कर रहे हो? कोई सुसाइड तो नहीं करने वाली हो ना?
Thank you. All right. यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? It was very casual. I mean, amongst each other, do you guys talk in a formal counselor manner? Now, think about this. A lot of us, just because we have attended psychology, the moment we have starting to, okay, thank you. The moment we want to listen to someone, we go into a counselor format. How are you feeling? Right? And your friend is like, counselor mat ban. Because you also complain about the fact that everyone tells me what am I thinking, asking me what am I thinking. So you don't want to be that counselor as well. So this was deliberately in an informal fashion itself. But I want you to see if this is a common conversation you're having, what did you notice? So it was informal, great, that is?
It was informal, it was casual, which is okay, but the tone was applying to making fun of suicide. So I think the problem is there. The problem is not if the conversation was informal or the way it was said was in a casual way.
Right? Now, am I trying to fight for suicides, right?
No, but like,
Why would you be mean to suicide? Right? So what is the problem then?
The towards being asked was very dismissive,
Dismissive.
not acknowledging the other person's feelings. It was not empathy.
Okay. Was the person trying to be bad though?
no.
So that's also something you need to understand. Right? Grammar correction में ज़्यादा मत घुसना. लोगों से नाता टूट जाएगा. Right? What are we doing here? Yes.
The word suicide was taken very
Lightly. तो heavy भी लेना है क्या? Suicide हो रहा है. Right?
I think it was just an assumption that अगर कुछ बुरा होने वाला है, the ultimate solution is suicide. So she was like, तो
So,
suicide
do you think that Dishank was offering a solution? तू suicide try किया क्या? No, that was also not what is happening. But think about how it is impacting you. When you are hearing the word suicide, see what all things are coming up in your mind as well. Right?
The person even asking the question, even he wasn't aware what he's trying to convey by the word.
Yeah. How many of us get anxious if we hear suicide? How many of us talk about suicide with another person, other than if it is Sushant Singh or 13 Reasons Why? No, right? You were saying something?
I think she felt like maybe or she wasn't taken seriously.
She wasn't taken seriously. All of that fine, right? Now, what is the problem here? Was the person suicidal? How do you
How
know?
do you know?
Think about this. But did the person get an opportunity to say yes? I'll tell you the problem here, right? Hunger. इसके पहले हमने एक बार चेक किया था. Hunger अपने आप नहीं आता. Hunger is a symptom of पेट खाली होना. Right? वो अपने आप नहीं होता. Unless emotional eating, that's a different thing. I'm not going to get into that. We are talking purely about hunger. Now, same thing. How many of you go to your friend's place or relative's place and tell them, भूख लगी है खाना दो? No, na. We have experienced shame. Even though hunger is one of the most common human expression, but we still feel embarrassed. How many of us will be comfortable to share that, hi, I'm feeling suicidal or I'm having thoughts of suicide, I need help? समझ में आ रहा है? एक समोसा मांगने में हम लोग को इतना टेंशन आता है. Suicidal thoughts आ रहे हैं, उसमें मुझे help चाहिए, कैसे पूछे? Do you see how difficult and challenging that could be? Now imagine your friend is coming to your house. Okay? And the friend has come in, you are talking to them and you ask them, hey, भूख लगी, खाना लगाऊं? Is that going to plant an idea of khana in that friend's? Yes? Oh, khana bhi kha sakte hain. Yes. No, it is not happening, right? If the friend is going to say either yes or no. But if the friend says yes, actually I am hungry. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are you sure?
There's nothing bad in it.
What is the good thing?
खाएगा.
अभी उसको खिला सकते हैं हम. हाँ या ना? Now do you understand? If you are you having thoughts of suicide? If I ask someone, if they say yes or no, if they say yes, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because now the person can get help. Our biggest fear is not that the person is going to get angry or upset. It's not that the person is going to get suicidal. You know why I know this? None of you have asked this question. You have not asked this question. You do not know what is at the other end of this question. I have spoken with over thousands of people. I have asked this question to my mother. I have asked this question to my relatives. I have asked this question to my friends. When I saw the sign. ऐसा नहीं कि hi कैसे हो suicidal? That's not what I'm talking about here. But when you see these signs, are you able to ask this question? Because if you don't ask, right, this is where the question comes. What's the worst thing that can happen if you ask this question? गुस्सा हो जाएगा? अभी तक मैंने नहीं देखा है. But अगर गुस्सा भी हो गया, angry friend better or dead friend? Angry friend. Still better. I'm not trying to give you a guilt trip here. It's just some common sense use करना है. But at the same time, when we are talking about help for that person as well, the moment you respond with suicide बुरा है, या ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए or anything, the person stops. they are not able to express. If I ask the person, hey, तुझे भूख भूख तो नहीं लगा है ना? Right? If some friend comes to your house and you don't want to feed them, what will you say? खा के ही आया होगा ना? है ना? भूख तो नहीं लगी है ना? What are we doing? We are telling the person what we want to hear as an answer. We want to hear a no. Are you understanding what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So same way, Disham can, what did Disham do here? तुझे suicide करने का तो नहीं कर रहा है ना मन बाबा? तू सुशांत सिंह जैसा पागल हरकत तो नहीं करेगी ना? Don't do something stupid, okay? What are we saying here?
Obvious answer being no.
Yeah. Is the person going, no, I want to do stupid. Is the person going to tell you that? No. We are making the person say a no to us. In fact, the opposite or the more counterintuitive option is what works. Hey, I've been seeing that you have been going through a lot. You know, sometimes when a person goes through a lot, they may even get suicidal thoughts. Are you getting them? अभी तक नहीं आ रहा, but तूने बोला बोल के आ रहा है? Never happens. Okay, this is what we need to, and as future mental health professionals, this is the belief you need to work on. And it doesn't have to be a belief. Talk, ask, and you will see that it doesn't work that way. And today we'll practice as well. So we have seen how not to ask. Shall we look into some how to ask? Now, when we are talking about how to ask the suicide question, there are two ways, simple. First, indirect. And second is direct. And you will get to see both of those choices. Indirect wala kare. So we have Monish, our depressed person stays the same. Oh, by the way, the QR code that you guys are seeing on the screen, this is for a survey form. It's a very short survey form, about 10-15 questions. Most of them are just tick. This is for us to track the mental health situation that has been. So if you can and fill it up, it will be really helpful. Abhi kya bhi nahi. There's a skit also happening. Yes, Monish and Arya.
Hi Arya, कैसे हो?
I am good, मस्त. तुम बताओ?
I'm good, पर क्या हुआ? Like,
बहुत सारी चीजें हैं देखने जाए तो पहले चलती रहती, तुझे तो पता ही है. एग्जाम्स का प्रेशर, फ्रेंड्स ने बात करना तो छोड़ ही दिया है. So I don't know.
that looks like बहुत कुछ हैंडल करने को. Parents, kid, friends ने बात करना छोड़ दिया. Like, how are you dealing with it?
मतलब सब खत्म करने का ही मन करता है मुझे. I don't feel like continuing this. मतलब end ही कर.
Like सब खत्म करने का मन कर रहा है, and what do you mean by you want to end it?
I feel like I want to end everything. Life, सब कुछ, just everything.
Are you like, are you feeling like to commit to kill yourself?
Thank you. Now, how many of you found that conversation disturbing? Right? Did he just ask her, are you feeling like killing yourself? Was that an idea that he was giving? No. What was happening there? Right? When we talk about indirect asking of the question, first thing, what is suicide a symptom of? Pain. So हम शुरुआत कहाँ से करें? Pain. Right? And like I've said to you before as well, multiple things. So you have to be able to see that if a person is reaching that state, there has to be multiple problems in their life that they are dealing with. Now, when we are looking at pain, क्या चल रहा है? It can be a simple thing to start off with. Just a basic thing. How have things been? Starting there. And when you ask, how are you? Right? Be interested to actually know the answer. Not how are you? I am good. How are you? I'm good. Ye nahi. Good, okay, all right. Nahi. Actually wanting to know. So when Monish first asked, yeah, good, okay. No, you don't sound too okay. What's happening? I've got time. Talk to me. Right? Some things start coming up. Don't start giving solution to it. अरे my parents के साथ तो बहुत problem चल रहा है. Very often than not, because of our need to help, We jump in there and we'll be like, "अरे parents तो ऐसे ही होते हैं, तू tension मत ले, चल चाय पीते हैं या whatever you drink." Right? Are you understanding? So this particular thing, instead of giving a solution straight away, if you have just waited, wow, that seems like a lot. Is there more? So what happens is, first you check for pain. The second step is intensity, or are there any other areas? So first step, then intensity. How many other areas that the person is feeling pain? If you see that there's a lot of areas that the person is experiencing pain from, use that. If the pain is very high, then you should be able to ask the question, hey, it seems like you're going through so much. Has it come to a point that you're even having thoughts of dying? And being able to ask it as naturally as possible. You're not thinking of dying, are you? Will you get a yes? Yes, kaise pata chala? No, right? A lot of the time, a person with suicidal ideation may be trying to be kind to you as well. यार इसको बोलूँगा तो इसको tension आ जाएगा. Right? So the idea is being able to openly ask this question and be open to hear a yes. Yes ke baad, we'll take the next steps. It's about getting the help. All the things that were being discussed in the first session. Excellent. But don't nag the person. I'll also show you how maybe you can encourage the person after this, right? Now let's see a direct method. Indirect samajh mein aaya? Idea is, end mein you have to ask the suicide question, but build it up with the pain, intensity and suicide question. Whatever you do, don't try to be dismissive of the whole thing, right? Now direct question, this is where we have Mehak. Mehak has been noticing that Arya has been not keeping too well. She's been really isolating herself and a lot of things. So it has been on Mehak's mind. And this is Mehak checking with Arya now. Yeah?
Hey, I haven't been seeing you around so much, you know. I mean, you don't hang out with us anymore, you don't stay back after class, and you don't seem so happy these days. Is something going on?
Oh, yes. To a point, yes. A lot has been going on. I don't know where to start. I just go round and round, and I don't know.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, when someone is going through a tough time, they might think of suicide. Are you having suicidal thoughts?
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Thank you. Now, how many of us are surprised to hear that yes? Right? Someone with suicidal ideation, yes or no? Right? This is the weird thing. I remember I told you guys about intrusive thoughts. Again, please address that myth you have in your head. किसी को suicide मरने का मन नहीं करता है, which then they will try to move their mind or change their mind about. These are intrusive thoughts that the person is dealing with, and it's a highly anxiety-provoking incident. These intrusive thoughts. If one thing that is coming in your head is इससे तो अच्छा मर जा, there is no use for you. ये सब thoughts आ रहे हैं. Are these pleasant? No. In fact, a person experiencing intrusive thoughts of suicide, if you are actually having a conversation with them, they may be even able to tell you कब आते हैं. That's the weird part. Right? Because we do not have exposure to this. You'll be surprised the person may be able to actually tell you, actually, you know what, I have it like 3 times a week, normally on the weekends or even just before I go to sleep, falana. They'll be able to tell you when are these things occurring in their life as well. And that also gives you an idea how much correlation it has with mental health disorders as well. Over 50% of suicides that are happening, there is a comorbidity or mental health condition associated. In fact, one report says that 90% of suicides have a mental health issue in the back end. When we are talking about these things as well, I also spoke about how suicide is the most preventable form of death. Why am I saying that? If 90% of mental health disorders have a mental health issue in the back end, are mental health issues manageable or curable? Manageable or curable bhi hai, right? The idea is, if that help is not provided, then it becomes a problem. The second biggest issue is, over 80% of those who die or attempt suicide, they show signs. They show warning signs, right? And it's when we see these warning signs, are we able to ask the suicide question and help encourage the person to get help? Even if the person is not seeking a mental health professional. I know there's a lot of impetus on mental health professional, and that is ideal. but the stigma is so high, we have to also take that into account. So at the end of the day, even if it's not a mental health professional, can you look at increasing the number of people the person is in touch with? It's trying to create a safety net for the person. So if you have, and I'm talking on a one-on-one level here with you guys, if you have someone in your life who you know or think is suicidal, or if they have told you as much, there are certain things I'll tell you. First, try not to promise 24/7 availability. This is going to be very difficult for you to manage. Burnout ho jaoge. Right? The idea is have a conversation with the friend, because a lot of time they will ask you to make a promise. Don't tell it to anyone. Again, it's the stigma. The idea is, hey, you have been able to talk to me. That's great. But while I'm supporting you, I will also need support for myself. So do not block yourself out or isolate yourself out of support as well. Is that making sense? So promise दिया है तो भी उनको बोलो कि I will also need support. And because you have been able to share this with me, you are able to trust this with me, can we look at anyone else as well? Can we look at adding more people in this mix? I don't care if it is that tapriwala that you are really friends with. But if that is a person you are open to being vulnerable with, that person is helpful in this safety net. It's about adding these people. I'll tell you the problem. If any one of you singularly tries to handle it as well, imagine most often than not, they may need you in the night. Right? आपने 20 घंटे का शिफ्ट किए हो, काम किए हो, वाइवा है, ये सब है. इसके बीच में आप, after that, would you have the mind space or emotional space to handle another 2-hour call where the conversation is going to involve a lot of rumination about a lot of stories that you have already done in the past? It's not possible. That's why being honest, you're not being mean when you're being honest. It's not pleasurable in that short term, but long term it is the most helpful thing as well. So knowing your own boundaries and there. So I know I'm trying to give a lot of information in this, but I hope you are able to understand. Direct questioning समझ में आया? Not worried. Suicide के और कोई शब्द नहीं है. Right? Suicide is suicide. So asking it in that much easier manner is the best. So before we close for the day, we'll have one practice and then we'll open up for the Q&A. और एक homework भी देना है आपको. Now, everyone just choose a partner. 2 people. हाथ पकड़ लो. ये 3 हो गए. जहाँ पे भी 3 है, आप 3 हो ना, एक इधर आ जाओ इनके साथ. Everyone find 2. 2 हाथ तो दिखने चाहिए मुझे साथ में बने हुए. जो भी नहीं दिख रहा है उसको आगे पीछे करना पड़ेगा. 2. You guys are 2. वहाँ पे 3 है पीछे. You have a partner? No. Who's your hand? हाँ वहाँ पे है. आप लोग के everyone who doesn't have a partner, you don't have a partner, stand up. पकड़ लो एक. You can move around, guys. Just find one person. And what are you going to do? You guys want to come ahead? I'll use you as an example. Okay. So इनको देखना, आपको ये करना है, ठीक है? And try to do it honestly. It will be helpful. So what are we going to do? They both are here. What are your names? Sorry. Rohan. Ruhan. Sorry. Saili and Ruhan. Right? What are they going to do? They are going to individually ask each other this question. आप छोड़ सकते हो. Right? I mean, छोड़ सकते हो. I'm not telling छोड़ो. I hold this. Right? So what is going to happen? Saili, you may start. Wait. What you are going to ask Ruhan? Ruhan, have you been having any suicidal thoughts? Right? Now, Ruhan can lie. All of you can lie. Do I need to teach you how to? No. Right? Lie matlab, Ruhan can say yes. Ruhan can say, no, I don't actually. And Ruhan can say, can we talk later about this? Got the response? Yes, I do actually have it. No, I don't. Can we talk about this later? 3 responses. Now, if Ruhan says, yes, I do have suicidal thoughts, what are you going to say? Allah, kya kar rahe? Chal. That? Of course not. You are going to say, thank you for telling me. Just that. ये क्या बोल रहे सच्ची ऐसा सब है देखो देख के लगता नहीं है. You're not going to do that. We are going to say thank you for telling me that. See, I'm tired of people asking me this question after a suicide happens. You know, Sachin, why didn't they, they were my best friend, why didn't they tell me once? They didn't even tell me once before doing this. Usually the question that needs to be asked back is, there was once you could have asked about the question itself, right? Now again, this is not to guilt trip you guys as well. If you haven't asked, it's because you didn't know that could be asked. Today you know. So try and use this from here on. What if he says no? I love it, Ali. Great, congratulations, yes? तुझे suicide नहीं, me भी नहीं, same pitch. Yes, no? Aren't we supposed to celebrate if he's not suicidal?
Be okay with it.
Now think about this, right? You wanted to say something?
Yeah, that will assign a negative connotation to suicide.
To suicide. Now, why is that a problem?
If he's lying, then it just reinforces.
Wait. अरे एक ही जन, हाँ.
If he's lying, it just reinforces his thought that she will be happier if I say no, and I don't want to give.
Now
her that
think about that, right?
To open up.
Ruhan has said no, because how many of us tell our problems openly in the first try? Huh? If I say how are you, most of your answer is good, okay, all right, right? How many of you are actually my cat is dying? Parents are divorcing, and we don't get into that, right? Yeah, okay, all right. Now the same way, the person has said no. That doesn't mean great. It just means, oh, thank you for telling me. But in the future, if you ever do, you can still talk to me. Right? It's not a matter to celebrate or any such thing. Many a time people test out by saying a no. If I want to find out whether you are pro-left or pro-right, if I'm pro-left, I will try giving गाली to left. तुम्हारा reaction देखने के लिए. And if you are giving गाली, oh, ये right है मेरे को. Right? So people can do this even as a test. So no बोला तो भी thank you. बाद में बात करें बोला तो sure, thank you. बाद में बात करते हैं. And make sure that you have that discussion later on. Don't forget it. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Simple? After that is done, so your thank you सब चीज पे, then Ruhan will ask you, have you been having suicidal thoughts? And your response will be
One of the three.
yes, no, or बाद में बात करते हैं. Actually, I will ask you guys practice with a yes. Let the other person hear this. I wanted to hear, like, get on the eardrum कि कैसा लगता है सुनने में. The suicide word and even yes after that. And then your focus will be to stay calm. हंसी मजाक सब कुछ ठीक है, but try to see if you can get at least once this done. Shall we try it? Please have a seat. Let's try. Start. अपने partner के साथ, जिनका हाथ पकड़े थे.
Are you happy?
Have a seat and do it.
Why are you smiling and telling me sadistic? I don't want to
Movie discuss नहीं करना है. Are you asking the question? Are you asking the question?
Finding a safe space.
There's so much laughter happening on suicide. Huh? Okay, has everyone asked the question?
Yes.
Hello? Has everyone asked the question? Yes? Has everyone answered the question? Kona people? Everyone has asked and answered? Yes or no? एक जोरदार तालियां दे दो. जोर से. Maybe after you. Right? How many of you are feeling suicidal now? सवाल पूछा ना आपसे अभी. Now, how many of you found it difficult to say the word? How many of you it came out like, hey, do you have thoughts of... you know that. Did you struggle? Many of you did. The idea is, now think about this exercise, right? Ruhan and Saili we had used. Now, did you know that your friend was going to ask you this question? Your colleague, she was going to ask you this question, right? About suicide. You knew what to answer that. You knew what their response will be to it. and you also knew that they are also going to be asked this question by you, then what was the problem? Then is the problem in the word suicide, or that we experience that if I ask the question, it may give that idea, it may upset the person. I'd assure you that they will not be bothered by it. In fact, they will also have to ask. They also know what to answer. Then who are you protecting? Right? In fact, what you experienced at that time, that difficulty to say the word suicide, that, if you recognize it, that's the power of stigma. If you want to ever know what is stigma, that apprehension you experienced, that is this visualization of stigma. Because there is absolutely no problem with Om Suicide Namaha. आप में से किसी को कुछ नहीं होने वाला. Because we are associating this word to be so strong and powerful. It is not. In fact, the most strong and powerful words you will find are sorry, thank you, please, love you, and things like that. They actually have more help. But suicide doesn't. So be open to asking the suicide. Because if any one of you wants to save a life ever, it will not, for suicide cases, it will not happen without this question. Alright, with that, last homework, and we'll be done and we'll be open for questions. I want to give you 3 homeworks, and this will be my safety plan. You can call it as my safety plan. If you have someone who's going through suicidal ideation or high emotional distress, you can also help them make this plan. That's why I'm making a very simple plan that is easy to create. The first plan with the first component is my 3 warning signs. Write down my 3 warning signs. कोई याद रखेगा कि WhatsApp में भेजेंगे सर. My 3 warning signs. What are 3 warning signs for? What are warning signs? Any thoughts? क्या होगा ये?
Indications
Of what? पानी चला जाएगा?
indications of suicide.
Not just indications of suicide. Indications of being overwhelmed. Indications of being stressed. Right? Now, what does that mean? Like, for example, for me, if I'm going through a lot of stress, so for example, one of the first things I will start doing is avoiding my parents' calls. My parents call me literally every day. And I enjoy talking to them. But if I'm going through some stress, today if I get them, अरे क्या ये रोज इनका call? And you know what? This statement that I make, ये क्या रोज, that is my trigger. That helps me remember, oh, this is my sign. So when we are talking about signs, we are specifically looking at behavioral signs that you do. So the best people to talk to would be people who spend the most amount of time with you, like your parents, family, whoever it is. Ask them, what do I do when I get upset? You will be surprised the answers you may get. Right? Find out what are those things. So isolating yourself, getting irritable. So I start shouting at my dog sometimes. Like when I'm going through a really shitty day or something, I take her for a walk and she's going to pee and I'm like, kitna susu? I'm like, I start pulling her and all of that. I start getting frustrated, but then automatically I remember, nah, it's not her fault. She's doing what she does every day. Right? It's me. This is my sign. It's not Phoebe's sign. But I need to be able to catch it. Are you understanding? All of you have this power. Remember in school, कैसे बोलते थे? Teacher आते ही, इसका झगड़ा हो गया. कैसे मालूम पड़ता था? Same thing, but for yourself. Identifying so that you're not just spreading happiness everywhere. So identify what are your warning signs. 3 is the minimum. Write down more. Second homework. 3 things that help me calm down. And again, all I'm talking about is the minimum 3. 3 things that help me calm down. What is it? Instagram daru nahi hoga isme. Right? Social media is not going to be part of this. So can someone give me some ideas about things that, yeah? Music, sure. But what music? Which one? Which song? Now, think about this. You would experience, if you think over it, spend some time, remember some songs that have actually helped you in the past. अगर ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों by Lata Mangeshkar really है, so nice, it's about the country, but I feel nice. Put it down in your list, and you need to have that song in your phone. So it's not just about I'm a music person is enough. No, you need to know what songs do the trick for you as well. Make sure you have those songs with you. Is that making sense? What else? Huh? Running, sure. Running, going for a jog. So it also helps in your EMDR process as well. So it's always helpful.
What if you don't know what calms you down?
Sorry?
What if you don't know what calms you down?
Then you need to spend time from today. You're a human being over 20. You need to know these things. You need to know कि अभी मुझे यहाँ पे itch हुआ है. You know it is to be scratched. You that same way. If I'm feeling anger, I need to know what I can do. Unless being angry at the world is that option you're going for. Is that a better option? No. So the idea is you need to know what your triggers are or your warning signs are. And you should know when that warning sign happens, what you should do. So spend time. You see, I'm asking you to do it as homework, not right now. Spend time, think over it. You will have come across some things and people as well. It can be even hugging a bloody tree. It doesn't matter. What works for you may not work for you. What works for you, us pe dhyan do. Use it. Sleeping is not always helpful. I mean, if you're going to only use sleeping as a coping mechanism, no. 7 घंटे ही बस है. उससे ज़्यादा help नहीं हो रहा है. Right? So try to manage that as well. So you need to find activities and things that you can do. Don't be like, oh, I'll create jet plane का model जिसके लिए मुझे इतना 10 item लगेगा. Only then I will feel calm. You're going to really, yeah, simple things that can be quick and fast, and no matter where you are, you can have access to. Got it? Third homework: 3 people I trust. What? I don't have 3 friends now. It's okay. When I say 3 people I trust, it doesn't have to be your parent, family member, even your boyfriend or girlfriend or partner. These are people who you can cry in front of. These are people who you can be ashamed, vulnerable in front of. इनके सामने शायद आपके दोस्त होंगे जो साल में 1 या 2 बार बात होता है. But 1 घंटा निकल गया, 2 घंटा निकल गया, and feel so calm after that. Who are those friends? So today what you will have to do is go through your phone list, Facebook, whatever. Go through that list. Identify who these people are that you have lost touch with. There were these people who let me, when I spoke to them, it really was easy to talk to these people. And now don't start abusing them. When you want help, when you want to reach out, always make sure that they have the time and the mind space available. If you ask for this question, hey, do you have the time or mind space today for like 20 minutes? I would like to just talk. If they say no, that doesn't mean everyone likes you. That just means they are comfortable enough to be honest with you. Appreciate that. You do not get too many honest people right now in our life. So when you meet such people who are not afraid to say no to you, great. हर एक friend जरूरी होता है. So these friends are also needed. So minimum 3 people, whoever those 3 people are, write down their name, their number. और ये तीनों homework का एक पेज में लिख के फोटो लेना है and keep it in your phone. Why? Because the next time you get overwhelmed, you will not remember what to do. But phone तो देख ही लेते हो ना. So next thing, the only trigger you have to keep is, I need to check my phone. As soon as I'm feeling overwhelmed, as soon as I see my warning sign, see the phone, what to do? अतुल को call करता हूँ. Call करो. अतुल नहीं है, रमेश नहीं है, सीता. I don't care. Do that. And homework का next main part नहीं है, but sweet part is, those 3 people you have written down the names of, today message them. You're going to message them saying, hey, today we had a small session on suicide prevention or whatever, it's up to you. They asked me to point out 3 people I trust. I'm messaging you to let you know that I trust you. In fact, anytime you are going through a tough time, I want you to know that you can trust me too. Can you do that? Yes. Is that sweet enough? कितनों को cringe लग रहा है? हाँ, cringe is also a problem. You have to fight that emotion as well. Don't fall into it. Right? And when you do that, it's okay. Your friend may even bully you a bit. It's okay. हंसी मजाक में ले लो. And those who say, Sachin, I do not have a friend. I do not have people that close I can be that vulnerable to. No problem. आपकी life खत्म नहीं हुई है. There's a lot of time left. आज से शुरू करो. Start from today. Even if you get 2 people that you can trust, life कट जाएगी. कोई problem नहीं. Is that okay? Any questions, thoughts? And that's our session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was honestly, it's easy. That was honestly enlightening and a really interesting seminar. Could we have Miss Sairi ma'am on stage? And sir, could you please?
Very nice.
On behalf of the department, we really have to thank you. Our students sitting here, the YouTube live stream that's happening.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
we
a
have,
live stream.
yes, it's because lack of infrastructure, some of our students are sitting upstairs. We're really grateful that you could make time for us, and I'm sure there's so much more that the Q&A is going to add into, but just as a token of our appreciation, thank you so much.
Can we also have all the people who have come from Samaritans on stage, please? Thank you so much for coming today, guys.
Well, I mean speaking. Guys, question पूछो please. जल्दी जल्दी.
Guys, please ask questions.
पूछो.
Yes.
From the live stream also, and
Sure. Questions?
Somebody has a suicide thought and the person cannot talk to their family and like you know about that person. How do you help them? Like they're not ready to talk to the family.
So the question is, if you are aware that someone has suicidal thoughts, so let's make it into a sample itself, right? Your friend has reached out to you. They have told you, I feel like killing myself, I can't go on, and everything is messed up, my family and everything. And you are like, hey, but you need to talk to your family. And they are saying, no. Now, even in this situation, the idea is don't go nagging the person, hey, bolna. Don't go into that. We acknowledge their pain first off, like you are going through this is difficult. But at the same time, this doesn't mean that this is to stay. When someone is going through suicidal ideation, you can even talk about that I have attended the session, there are these things that have been told about it. If you're having these thoughts, there's a very high chance that you may have a disorder in the back end. It may not be an extreme disorder just yet as well, the intensity may not be that high, but it is important that we check kara. If you want, maybe we can involve one of our college professors, Sairi ma'am may be free. Can we engage with her to have a conversation with your family? They may listen to her more. So the idea is to try and encourage the person to reach out. If not to their family, at least try and reach out to one or two more people, add more people. See, if a person is experiencing high-level suicidal ideation at 2 in the morning, and I only have one person I can talk to about this. Do you see how restricted it is? Yeah. But imagine if I have 4 people that I can talk to. So even if one of them is sleeping, 2 of them is sleeping, there are other 2 that I can still talk with. Right? So it gets spread out. So idea is still purely on engagement, encouragement. Do not take it all on you. Right? And if you are supporting, please take support for yourself as well. Again, it's not कि आपको उनसे कोई बीमारी मिल रही है, ये नहीं है. But आप ये जो you are worrying a lot for them, you become a lot anxious for them. All of that eats you up. And the worst thing is, their isolation you also started practicing because I cannot tell it to anyone. So you also start isolating yourself. So you're following the same steps. So these are things you need to be very mindful of. That's more important. The fact that the person has shared this with you, that they are having these thoughts, already their chances of survival has increased. That's the one thing, if I can give you guys, like them just expressing this out in itself. And when we are talking about helping them explore, when they're sharing these things, try not to go into the story too much. Try to see if you can go to their feelings more. अच्छा ये हुआ है, बहुत tough है. तो इससे feel क्या हो रहा है? अंदर कैसा महसूस हो रहा है? Try to get to the feelings a bit more if you can. But yeah, encouragement उससे ज़्यादा नहीं. And take your time. And one thing you may put yourself in pressure is you may put your timeline on them. Uska bhi just be a bit careful. Like it's been a month, you're still not over your breakup. What the hell, bro? ये नहीं होना चाहिए. Right? So also that they have their own timeline of coming out of it. You can just be there. When you're busy, let them know. I will be busy. I have my exam for the next 1 week. I may not be able to talk to you every day. But can we talk on Thursday? I think I'll have 1 hour then. So that way they also know you're not abandoning them or anything like that. But future के लिए है, ये date के लिए है, time के लिए. खुद का ख्याल रखना नहीं भूलना. बस वो main important. Cool. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
It's a very random question, but like a thought out of nowhere. What if you actually see someone committing, like maybe about to jump off a cliff or about to cut their hand or about to drink rat poison or anything, like a very random question. What would you do in that moment?
So in this, I mean, I hope you will not just stand and like, acha hai. So in level 3, this would be a level 3 that the person has actually taken steps to die or is in the process of taking steps to die. In this, one of the first things that we engage in is to move the person away from that source. So if possible, the person is at the has pills. So if they have told you, for example, it may not even necessarily be happening in front of you. आपके सामने हो रहा है तो आप पकड़ लोगे या कुछ करोगे, हटा लोगे. Stop slapping people. Like this is very common thing. कोई suicide attempt करता है, बाहर आके उसको चपटा तूने तेरे माँ बाप के बारे में सोचा नहीं. But it's, yeah, it doesn't really help that way. But if the person is reaching out, trying to see, hey, you have told me this, great, thank you so much. You have the pills right now. How many pills? Okay, these many. Is it possible you can put them on the side, throw it in the bin, or can you give it to me? आपके लिए नहीं, but I'll hold it for you. So whenever you need one pill or something like that, I can give. Having 10, 20, 100 pills with you is not safe. So helping them kind of move away from that. So ना रहेगी बांस, ना बजेगी बांसुरी. So getting people away from that means is a very effective way. इसलिए लोग पंखों में spring डाल रहे हैं. But again, this is again that's a bit थोड़ा सा one linear style है थोड़ा, but yeah, getting them away from the means is effective.
So, for example, you found out that your friend or an individual is suicidal, and the case is very extreme, and you feel like it's too much responsibility for you or someone your age, since they're your age as well. What would you do? Should you let a counselor know or
Snitch.
psychologist know? But that's the thing.
That's what you felt, right? You're like, oh, but they have given me the promise.
Yeah.
But that's why I told you. Now I'll tell you simple एक problem जो आपको logistical issue है. Your friend has told you that I'm having suicidal thoughts and you're like, okay, I शपथ मैं किसी को नहीं बोलेगा. But then today evening the person has told you goodbye. I'm doing it today. What are you going to do? Exactly. That time you will not be like, अरे मेरा blood, मेरा वचन, मेरा blood से महंगा. First thought that will occur in your head. What if the police read this message? What if his parents read this message? Are you going to be able to face them next day? What right did you have to not tell me my son is killing himself? Are you able to face that question? Right? This is why again that confidentiality promise. आप counselor हो वो अलग बात है. As a friend, one-on-one, this thing you have to be able to help the person reach out to more people. Don't try to be a martyr here. I've seen people burn out within 1 week. एक हफ्ते से ज़्यादा नहीं handle कर पा रहे हैं. Because that intensity for that person is high and you're becoming their savior. It's a full-time job. And you sign up for it like, I'm your bhai, dost and whatever. Doesn't work.
But when you say that, for example, they reach out to you and you have to take care of yourself and you say, okay, fine, I'm free day after tomorrow or the day after that for an hour. But can you rely saying that they will keep themselves safe?
There is no other choice. See, if you have to understand, 163,000 people in India died by suicide. That means over 40 lakh people have to have suicidal ideation. for that many people, or even in fact over 80 lakh people have to have suicidal ideation for 1 lakh people to die. I haven't given you the whole connection yet. Now 80 lakh people को suicidal ideation होने के लिए कितनों को depression होना पड़ेगा? Right? We are talking about a society right now where a major chunk of people are having mental health issues. Right? So, do we now think about everyone as a time bomb? No. Just because the person has told you that they are having suicidal thoughts, now you are treating them like a time bomb. Don't need to. The moment they have told you that they have suicidal thoughts already, it's good. You have made a promise, okay, we'll have to do it on this day, हम लोग वैसे करते हैं. And you have to trust them as well. If you start behaving like you're walking on eggshells, how do you feel? You can't see someone else behaving like that with you. है ना? ये बाबा इसको कुछ बोलने का नहीं, ये suicide कर देगा. Literally each and every single person in this room. WHO का number क्या है? 1 out of 4 people will have suicidal ideation at some point of time. How many people are there in this room right now? Ouch. Around 70, 80 approx. By that, statistically, how many of you will have suicidal ideation or have had or may even have right now? Minimum. ये 1 out of 4 का ratio जो है ना, this is for the world. India is the world leader in suicide. So for us, the ratio is more like 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3. So एक बार एक दूसरे का फेस देख के पता करो कौन time bomb, right? But all of us are able to live our life on a daily basis full आराम से. Just because a person has mentioned to you that they have suicidal thoughts, don't have to punish them for it, because that's what ends up happening, right? So not a time bomb. If you think of them as time bombs, you're already sitting around them. Human beings have a lot more resilience than that. Idea is उनको कैसे help करना है. आपने उनको बोला मैं Friday मिलूंगी, Friday मिलो. Friday तक आज जिंदा है क्या? Attendance लेते बैठोगे तो दिखाई देगा. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Cool. Anything else?
So like nowadays, a lot of people use terms like, "Oh, ये नहीं हो रहा, I want to kill myself." So like बहुत casual हो गया है. So does that? So every time someone speaks that, do we think like, अच्छा, this person is suicidal? Like how to identify if you want to approach, or is it just like a normal?
See, there is a lot more conversational hearing of suicide. से तो अच्छा मरना है, ये है, वो है, because it is happening. Right? And now, this is why I was also asking you guys, don't become language police. I may say, यार इससे तो अच्छा मरना ही है, and I may put like ha 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 after that. Are you sure I'm not suicidal?
Better to ask them.
Right. So if you hear someone is saying this, ठीक है, आपको doubt आया ना, पूछ लो. You have been, for the past 2-3 days, you have been talking. It may be joke, but it's been coming up quite a bit about going away and dying. Have you been having such thoughts? But not to accuse. Hey, क्या रे आजकल बहुत joke करता है suicide का. Do you know how many people, how much pain they have to go through, and you are here laughing at suicide and all of that, and you didn't even bother once to check if this person is not affected by it. Just because someone is laughing doesn't mean they don't have pain, na? So again, instead of correcting people on how to be the model human being, be the model human being. Stop correcting people and start interacting and engaging with them. It's much more helpful. Yeah? Cool. Yeah.
So, just like you said, right? Like a lot of people might joke about things like this. And when, even if you go and ask them, they might say ki nahi, it's all a joke and nahi hai. But sometimes you can't help but actually notice symptoms and, notice basic suicidal symptoms or tendencies in a person. But still, when you are approaching again, stigma वगैरह, everything comes in and they are like, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. How can you help a person?
So I would also again check with you to how you're asking. If you want, all of you, you should practice this once. If you have decided, if you have thought that, oh, this particular person I think has some. So plan it before. When do I ask? Exam के 2 मिनट पहले, ये जल्दी बोल सुसर लेके तेरे को, हाँ, जल्दी जाना है मेरे को. No, or hey, what are you doing today evening? Shall we meet up? बार में नहीं, कहीं पे आराम से जहाँ पे दारू नहीं. right? Being able to sit and I would like to talk. I have some concerns I wanted to ask you. And just be there and ask. I'll tell you my experience, right? I've asked this to an airport CRPF guy. You know CRPF? Like TTT kar rahe hum. So I was standing at the airport. I was coming back from a training itself, and this person was checking me, and I was in my Bhadrakal group. So he asked me like, what brings you to Raipur? And I'm like, मैं training के लिए आया था यहाँ पे. It's like, कौन सा training करते हो आप? बोलता है आत्महत्या पे. And he's like, हैं? हमारा भी करा दो. Right? And when is this happening? Like, I'm standing like Jesus, ऐसा, and I turn around, and this is the conversation. हाँ, क्या करते हो? Training करता हूँ. कौन सा? Suicide पे. हमारा भी करा दो. So, what do I do then? Right? I asked him, आपको भी आते हैं क्या suicide के ख्याल? What was his reply? He said, यार समझ में नहीं आता कभी-कभी मैं जिंदा क्यों? Who? The CRPF guy. I have not met him before in my life, and I'm still having my hands like this while he's telling me that समझ में नहीं आता कभी-कभी मैं जिंदा क्यों? But imagine this guy's plight, right? He doesn't carry his mobile phone because he's on shift, but he has a loaded gun, right? And now what is happening? If his supervisor or someone who was probably having a bad day or something now comes in and were to shout at him and माँ बहन की गाली दे देता और फिर अगर उसने अपना बंदूक से मार दिया होता, what would we hear in the paper? Right? Suddenly, don't know what happened. This person got suddenly upset and माता चढ़ गई and killed this other person. But do you see how long it was? Because nobody asked. So first and foremost, don't worry about the consequence of the question. If I was worried about the consequence, I should be more worried that he had a gun. Right? Like, hi, are you suicidal? You have a gun. No. If he gets angry, he will shoot at me, right? But you see how weird these logical things we are creating, which don't have any logic in them? Ask. Let that be their problem to say no or yes.
But what I'm trying to ask is sometimes even after or even despite you asking them, they might not be able to open up. And again, it's not their fault, but it's just you would still want to help them because
your need is secondary, right? वो ये चीज like आए हो तो मदद लेके ही जाएंगे, नहीं? इसमें जबरदस्ती भी नहीं है. Self determination psychology. You believe in agency of self. Right? If the person is saying नहीं भाई नहीं बात करनी, नहीं बात तो करनी पड़ेगी, अरे तो you are maybe part of the source of stress, right? So idea is you offer that, नेकी करो. So just check with the person. Hey, I wanted to check with this. I've seen so many cases where the person has said no, right? But after a month, 2 months, when it really hit the fan, they now knew who to talk to. Because इसने मुझे पूछा था ना, I can go back to this person. Is that making sense? Yeah. So even if it is not for now, it can happen later. That's the problem.
It's also coming to your own need to know now. It's your curiosity ki nahi batao. Because you have made that assumption that this person is in. So you need to curb your own
enthusiasm.
Yeah, and curiosity. That
मुझे तो बचाना है.
So you need to reflect to say that is it my need or is it that person's need to tell me? Not really required.
Yeah? Cool. Anything else? Is there a podcast after this?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we just take questions a little later, if that's okay?
Okay. भागना है ना उसके लिए. Okay. I mean, I have some of my colleagues here as well. In case you guys want to just interact, you can even talk to them about their experience. They have been working at Samaritans at least for a year now. I mean, some of you have. Some of you are all bachus as well. Some. But there are also people who have been here working with us for a few years. I think I'll have to go for a quick call or something like that. And but in the meantime, please feel free to interact. We will be the last ones to leave. If you have any more questions, they will also collate some for me, and we can even try to share it separately.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
But they are here.
Yes.
Guys, raise your hand so that they know. एक बार मुड़ भी जाओ ना, हाथ को कैसे पहचान. ठीक है?
Thank you so much, sir. Guys, two things. Firstly, people from the events department will be sending out sticky notes to you all. Write something positive, right? Write something just to make you feel something better, right? Something. It's not to someone, it's to anyone who picks it up. Each of you all will write it and keep it with you all. We'll tell you all what to do with it after a session. I'd also like to call Sack Shop now to introduce the next session of this.
We also have some of our cards that we do.
I think we've already talked.
We have already got the cards, headline numbers and all.
Power bank. 17%.
Does anyone want a card?
क्या कर सकते हैं?
OnePlus.
Alright, so guys, so you all settle down.
हाँ है.
Guys, please settle down. I know it's been a long day, but just we're actually just here exactly for that because it's been a very, very long day. Can you all please sit? Okay, great. So, all the topics that we discussed today were like suicide prevention, then there was bullying, peer pressure, so a lot of heavy topics, and I'm sure that's taken a toll on your mind. I can see it on everyone's faces that everyone's really tired, right? So, I think the best thing for us to do right now before we go home is just a little bit of a detox, or something that makes us feel a little bit calm and a little bit at peace. So I think the best way to go ahead with that is meditation and mindfulness. I completely agree. And for this, I would like to call upon one of our favorite teachers. She makes it a point to start her classes with a little bit of mindfulness. I see the look on her face. With a little bit of mindfulness, and she makes sure to have just a few moments with yourself and your thoughts. And she's here right now to do the same with y'all. So please give it up for Dr. Hina Kamble.
Hello, yes. I would be lying if I told you that I'm very confident at this moment taking the workshop. Technically speaking, I should be free of anxiety since I have been practicing mindfulness and meditation for like now 12 years. But I'm a human being. So when I came here for the session, can I know your name, ma'am, please? Shruti. So I just came with a lot of anxiety in my chest and I sat there. And Shruti asked me, "Are you well?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm well." That was a lie, number one. Number two, if at all you need to speak to anybody, I'm here for you. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know who you are. That was the second thought. But after this session, I feel very grateful to have experienced that moment of kindness coming from a stranger. She could make out from my body language that I was going through something, though not related to suicide, but going through something. So I'm very sure that all of us here have faced that kind of, experienced that kind of kindness at some point of time in their lives. Am I wrong? And now my question is, how many times have you been there when you needed your own kindness for yourself? If you have been there, yay, congratulations. And if not, let's begin from this moment. Okay? So this is something that we call as invitations. We call them as invitations because calling them as invitations also gives you the power to not accept them if you don't feel like accepting them. We all have different needs, we have all different solutions. What works for me may not work for you. So, if at all during this exercise, let's not call it as exercise, if at all during this experience you are not comfortable at any moment, you can just open your eyes. You can just refuse to accept the invitation and just be where you are. Okay? All right. So now I would like to invite you all to close your eyes or keep them half open. Soft gaze on the floor or on your laps. Relaxing your eyes in any way. Those who are wearing spectacles, can I request them to remove them so that you don't have any tension on your eyes, on your ears or your temples? Inviting you all to invite yourself to settle in the moment. Pause, you breathe in, and as you exhale, you relax. Your eyebrows are relaxed, your eyes are relaxed, your jaw, especially your tongue, is relaxed. Your ears, your neck muscles. And the best part about your body is that it knows how to relax if you just allow it to. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. Relax your face. Let your shoulders drop. Pause, you breathe in, and as you exhale, you relax. I'm going to say a prayer. I would like to invite you all to repeat this prayer after me. As wind carries our prayers, for earth and all life, may love and respect light our way. May our hearts be filled with compassion for others and for ourselves. May peace increase on earth, and may it begin with me. And may it begin with me. And may it begin with me. Pause, you inhale. As you exhale, you relax. Let the peace begin with you in this moment. It's okay to feel good in this moment. In this moment, you are not a daughter, you're not a son, you're not a friend, not a sister, not a student, not a teacher, not a listener, not a speaker, just someone who is trying to be in the moment. Pause, you inhale. As you exhale, you relax. Have you ever wondered who is with you all the time, from the moment you are born to the time you will die? It's your breath. Nobody is going to be more loyal to you than your breath. Let's show it some gratitude. Pause, you inhale. As you exhale, you relax. And as you relax, You feel good. It's okay to relax. It's okay to not think what is going to happen in the next hour. It's okay not to think about what has been happening to you so far. It's okay to be with your breath. You're safe. You're protected. Pause, you inhale. As you exhale, you relax. I would like to now invite you, if you can focus on any part of your body that makes you feel your breathing. At this moment, for me, it is my chest. With every inhalation and exhalation, it rises and it falls. How about you? Are your shoulders rising, falling, or your abdomen? Which part of your body makes you feel that you're breathing? For me, it's my chest. Oh, now for me, it's my shoulders. How about you? Rest your attention on that part of your body and see it rising and falling. With every inhalation and every exhalation. Being mindful, being with your body at this moment is the best service that you can do for yourself and also for others. And as you are resting your attention on any part of your body, stay with that part, but make sure that your eyes are relaxed, your eyebrows are relaxed, especially your jaw and your tongue. No tension in any part of your body. Pause. You inhale. As you exhale, you relax. I'll be saying some affirmations. Can I request you all to repeat them after me? And as you're saying them, instead of your focus on saying them, try to feel them. I am capable. I am easy. I am safe. I am safe. I am protected. I am loved. I deserve my own love. I live joyfully. And I enjoy living joyfully. I am joy personified. I am joy personified. I am joy personified. It's very easy for me to take care of myself. I enjoy taking care of myself. I am enough and it's okay. The way I am right now, it's okay. Pause, you breathe in. And as you exhale, you relax. Your shoulders are relaxed, eyebrows, either your chest rising or falling, or your abdomen, or your shoulders. Can you notice the difference in your pattern of breathing? From what you started to how it is right now? A little bit of change, a little bit of depth. Is it slower, faster, shallower, deeper? Can you notice the difference? If not, it's okay. If yes, it's okay. And whatever minutes or seconds of joy, calmness that you might have felt during this session, would you like to share it with somebody? To anybody who is close to you? I would like to share my sense of calmness with my mom at this moment. She just popped up in my mind. How about you? Anybody. Could be even your pet, or the nature, or your mentors, or your teacher, or to the universe in general. May all these beings in the world share this sense of calmness that I'm feeling. And with this goodwill in my heart, may I be happy. May I be truly, truly happy. May I experience happiness that is timeless, that is ageless, that is deathless, that is permanent. Happiness can be found in the worst of the storms. So may I be truly happy. Pause. And as you exhale, you relax. And as you relax, whenever you are ready, you can come back. You can open your eyes. A bit better, a bit. If yes, it's okay. If not, it's okay. That's what mindfulness is all about. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hina ma'am. After today, I hope everybody, when everybody goes home, they practice everything that ma'am taught us today. I personally would love to practice this again. And thank you so much for this enriching session.
As we come to a conclusion for today's event, can we once have a huge round of applause for all the people that took time out of their day to come and teach us and enlighten us. Now, I hope you guys have written something nice on your post-it notes. I would like you all, as you all are leaving slowly, one by one, come to the board, put whatever you all have written up on the board and take something for yourself to go back home. So, thank you guys. This is it from the events department. Once again, I'm your host Ruhan.
I'm your host Adra.
And this is us signing out.
Thank you to the events department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
आज वाला comment
exit 10 come एक-एक करके begin